what just happened is that your comment just started the show. That was awesome. So, yo, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, geeks and geekettes, all you wonderful people out there in Radio Land. I'm gonna call y'all still in Radio Land because I like to be nostalgic about it all. Ladies and gentlemen, you are on with the Black Geeks. We are here to bring you another weekly installment of our geeky entertainment. But fortunately for you, you're not. I'm not alone, and you're not alone in this journey. I have a bunch of really freaking awesome geeks with me, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to introduce to you the cast for this evening. I would like to introduce Dark Econius. Peace and blessing, my brother. How are you today?
I'm fine. I'm fine. Thank you. Peace and
That
blessings.
Absolutely. Thank you, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have King Face on the line with us. Well, most of him. King Face, what's going on, man?
never trust nobody from North Carolina that serve you drinks. Damn.
Okay.
True enough. Ladies and gentlemen, I do have the Potbelly Samurai as well. He's on mute, but I'm sure he'll come off for us.
Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, everyone. Hello, hello,
Hello, sir. Hello.
hello.
And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we do have the Dark Phoenix with us. What's going on, Phoenix?
Hi. Can I say something for Father's Day?
Yes, you can. Go right ahead.
Okay. I just want to say for this episode, I wore my me and my father's favorite comic book character, the Hawk. Just want to show it. My sweatshirt. Okay, that's it.
Oh.
That's okay. I sound
You got me in the comics. In the
Just for the record, though, we normally do DC around these pieces. I have not seen anybody wear a Marvel T-shirt yet, so you're first.
Wow.
You're the first, so I
Wow.
guess next week I got to do Deadpool.
That's not
I got
true.
to do Deadpool or something.
Spider-Man.
That's not
I wore
I mean,
Spider-Man.
Oh, that's right. No, that's right. No, I take that back.
Best
Face wore
superhero
Spider-Man a
ever,
couple weeks ago.
So
All
the
right.
Hawk is pretty much the best superhero.
He's the strongest
What?
there is.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Potbelly, Face, y'all gonna let that ride?
What?
I mean, the Hawk is the Hawk,
The Hawk
dude.
is the Hawk. The Hawk. Yo,
What you
you
gonna say
talking to
about
the wrong dude. The Hawk is my favorite. If you ask me who will win in a fight, I'll say Hawk most of the time.
Thank you.
9 times
Great.
out of 10. That's a problem.
You didn't whoop
What
Thor's
about Hulk
ass.
versus what?
Hawk versus who?
You said Hulk.
Hawk has whooped
The
out
Hawk
Thor.
has whooped Thor.
Have you not been paying attention?
Silver
Yeah.
Surfer.
Puny God.
All right, what about Silver Surfer?
He whooped him out too. Have you not watched Planet Hawk?
Silver Surfer wasn't in Planet Hawk.
Yes.
Oh, you really gonna question Face?
See,
Are
this
you
what
really
happens
gonna
when a
question
person
him?
don't
I'm
read.
just gonna sit back and watch this.
Oh, you saying in the comic?
See, in that little punk ass cartoon, it was Beta Ray Bill. In the comic, it was Silver Surfer.
Well, didn't you just say watch? I said he wasn't in the cartoon. I didn't read the comic.
Planet Hawk is a comic. It's a comic, not a
I
cartoon.
understand that, but you said watch, not read.
Mm.
He
Silver Surfer.
beat Silver Surfer. Wow.
And he's done it several times, not just in Planet Hawk.
All right, what about Galactus?
Galactus don't even count. Really? You gonna do
Hey.
that?
Hey,
It's like saying, "Hey, can I beat up the air?" Really? Don't do yourself a disservice like that, man.
he done had too much of that Kool-Aid. I better leave him alone. He might mess around and change the rate to this show.
That can always happen. That can always happen at any moment. That's
You gotta understand with the Hawk. The Hawk is one of those few characters in the Marvel universe that everybody gives respect to. Like
Yeah.
that
Put it
dude
this way.
nuts everybody up.
You know what happens? You know what?
And there goes the rating of the show.
This what happens.
Yeah,
This what happens.
Right.
Whenever, I don't know if y'all been reading the Secret War joints, but whenever something bad is happening, what they do is say, "Send in the Hawk."
Hawk.
No matter what. That's always the
I can
death
believe
in our
that.
plan. It's like, we have no other options. Send in the Hawk. That's Hawk. You crazy? You crazy as hell. Shoot.
As long as we've said that. Also, Hulk is strong as long as he doesn't eat you. Because
What you just said?
if he eats the wrong person, he's in a whole lot of trouble.
what?
I ain't messing with you, Rob.
Now that just changed the rating of the show.
I don't know what he's talking about right now.
I'm referring to Old Man Logan. Old Man Logan. That was a comic. All right, so let's get this thing started. You know what? I forgot to ask, Mr. Sithi, are we doing Sith News tonight, or are you just gonna let that all hang out there on the interweb?
Yes, actually, you can check Sith News out on my Twitter feed, on
Pandora? What
li
are you going to say?
list li, or what is that thing called?
I don't
Uh,
know, but how about you just
Come on,
post the
flip
link?
book.
How about you send the link on
I
Twitter
will
and I'll
send the
share it.
link. It's
Okay,
on Twitter, and you can also catch it out on Flipboard. So,
there you go.
yay.
How you catch it on Flipboard? Just look up Sith News.
Yes, Sith News on at Dr. Geekness, Twitter feed, and yeah.
I
Are
don't
there?
know. I think you're being a little bit lazy here this evening.
What?
I
No.
think you're being kind of lazy this evening.
Huh? What? I'm
You know,
not
Yeah,
being.
like you're
Okay,
being lazy.
you
Like
want some Sith
you
news? You want some Sith
what,
news?
where's the
you know
Sith
what,
news?
I'll
you know
give you
what,
some Sith news.
hold up,
It's
hold
gonna
up.
drive Face crazy what I'm about to say.
Swift News
Face,
went downhill. Swift
Face
News
about
has
to go
been
off.
going downhill ever since he stopped doing the music. That's what happened. He didn't want to do the music anymore, and now it's just like I'm just gonna start talking. It's like no one want to hear that crap. But
Basically,
you had
I want the
intro,
music. I want the
like
truffle shuffle. Do the
yo,
truffle
listen,
shuffle.
I do wish.
are we really talking about Shaft without the intro? Is Shaft really Shaft without the dun-dun-dun, 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 dun-dun? No, remember the intro. Now we ain't got an intro. This is
Uh-huh.
I don't know. I don't know about you, Face, but I think Geekonia should do the truffle shuffle.
you
I think
should.
that should be the intro.
I don't want to see Geconius do the anything personally. I'd rather he
Now
just do.
see,
I'd rather he just do the lazy boy personally. I'm just like,
I think Phoenix want to see the truffle shuffle too.
the
No,
we're
I'm
not
good.
doing. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
and she backs away from the conversation.
The
Like,
the
okay.
intelligent move.
She hit him with the no, no.
No.
No, please, no, God, no, don't do that. But
Okay.
no, seriously, if we want to talk about something, this is really something that King Face would love to discuss. So
All right.
it looks like it's been announced that we finally have at least a Spider-Man in the comic books. We still don't have one in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and it looks like Miles Morales is going to
Yeah, I
be
saw that.
is going to be the Spider-Man
Now,
beginning in
this
October.
this is what you just did just now. This is what you just did just now. You kind of spoilered it because I am reading the comics.
Oh, my bad.
You kind of spoiled it,
Ooh.
but at the same time, I see the writing on the wall, so I'm not tripping. But for anyone who was on the Secret Wars, that's like I'm finna read it tonight. And what you just did, that's kind of a that's not a good look, dude.
It's literally all over the internet.
See, I don't do internet when I'm reading stuff.
Yeah, well,
I
you
don't.
can't read the internet. Oh, it's on. It's everywhere. It's
I
literally
haven't.
it's literally on
No,
Twitter.
remember,
It's
right?
on.
All
So
on
you remember,
Twitter.
Phoenix? Remember that conversation we had? Like, if there's something that you really want to do, you don't go online.
Yeah,
I
because
haven't
the
been.
Yeah.
internet
I
is
So
haven't.
have
dark
you
and
been avoiding?
I haven't been online because I haven't read that comic.
Hmm. Oh.
And
yeah,
so,
because the internet is dark and full of spoilers.
yeah. And
Yeah.
so what you just did is you brought that foolishness to this show just now. I'm not sure I'm a fan.
I didn't know.
Mm.
Look,
And you
Oh,
don't
we
have
asked
that.
for the report.
You don't have that excuse that it's been out for a long time. No, it hasn't. But okay,
at least a day though.
that's not
It's like I wasn't
I've
even.
I
been
mean, that
I've
is
been
kind of like
into
an
that.
eternity in internet years.
I have been into that comp. That's why I haven't been on at all. I haven't checked my Twitter feed at all. I haven't finished. I've been supposed to be finished tonight, but
Okay. Well, something a little bit better than maybe you won't want to fight after this. So, Michael Gummelt, he's been basically for almost 20 years. He's been doing his own Star Trek show called Star Trek Uncharted, and he recently announced that he was invited to Paramount. He's going to Paramount this summer to actually pitch the series to them about starting a new Star Trek TV show. What makes his Star Trek TV show different than Next Generation or Deep Space Nine or Voyager? I'm not going to mention that other thing.
Don't do that.
Yeah. Let's just say it had my favorite guy from Quantum Leap. But anyway, what makes his show different? He did not write it in a 4-act episodic format, which is Star Trek was known for. Like basically at the end of each episode, everything was solved and right in the world, more or less, unless it was a several part show. He wrote it. He's writing it more like Breaking Bad or Game of Thrones, where the seasons have themes and it's more fluid. So for those of you who are hoping that they might have a new Star Trek TV show, I truly think they should bring Star Trek back. There might be a shot because he has a huge fan base and Paramount has taken the bait. He gets to pitch it, so I'll definitely be wishing Mark, you know, well, because I hope the guy Michael, I mean, we wishing him well, and hopefully he'll get a chance to bring it out there. One last thing, since we'll put it out there, Samuel L. Jackson is starting some stuff. That shouldn't be new.
That's
If
really
you,
nothing new.
you know, it's nothing new. But recently, Sam Jackson was asked about whether or not he would be interested in returning to Star Wars, or had they reached out to him, and he said he'd be open to reprising his role, and then suggested that it's not certain that Mace Windu is dead anyway.
I said
I've
that.
been saying that.
So
I said that.
Like, he just went out the window. How many times you done seen Obi-Wan high jump from a window and land on a cruiser and pretend to be like the Silver Surfer and then drop down and be sitting there looking on cool without even a hair out of place? So yeah, Mace Windu didn't have no hair, but he
only
could have
difference
pulled that
was
off.
my man got his hand chopped off. He was in shock. So he shouldn't have had the wherewithal to be like, oh, my hand is cut off, but I'm still going to stand on this car that's moving at 3,000 miles an hour. Oh.
It's all good. He did a robot hand.
And fall a gazillion miles to the ground.
Yeah.
But he actually made a joke. He said he was recently in London, and they were having a casting call while he was doing Kingsman, and he said they were thinking about going to audition. But he said it go. So for those of you who are hoping for the return of Mace Windu, I guess we could start a petition, free Mace Windu. Let him out. And that's all I got for this impromptu Sif News Light, as it was recently tweeted.
I have a little bit of.
What?
Can I say something?
Sure.
Like, no, there's like
Bring it.
This has never happened.
Come on.
No, I thought maybe you were gonna bring it up because maybe you saw it, but what is it? I don't know how reputable or whatever it is, but they're saying that Marvel is approaching Beyonce to be part of the Avengers.
Oh,
I'm sorry, what?
Why?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Who's she gonna be, though?
No, they want her to be part of a newcomer slate or something. That's what they're saying. So, but they'd love for her to join the franchise.
That's what I'm saying. What character would she be, though?
I don't know. I saw someone say something like, what was it, Tigra?
She can't act well enough to do that.
Well, I thought she was all right.
Tigra don't say nothing.
You thought she was good in what?
What's that movie she was doing
with Idris Elba? I know you ain't messing with my husband. No, you didn't. No, but yeah, no. She gonna be Tigra though? That's like, technically speaking, Tigra is kind of orange, but.
Oh God.
Oh boy.
I heard that, or I read that. I read a few articles on that. So
we'll see. Unless they gonna make her do Misty Knight. But don't they already got that in the works? They should already have that person.
You would think that they would, but
yeah, because they gonna do. I don't know. She got her own show on Netflix, but since she's that group that they're doing on Netflix, they better have a Misty Knight showing. I'm gonna be hot about it. They're doing a Danny Rand. They're doing a Defenders. Heroes for Hire. You gotta have a Misty Knight. You would think. That's only logical.
Wow.
So.
Okay. Well, wait. Before we start the show, Got to make sure we support Geekonius. So, Geekonius, just to make sure that you get your check, do you have anything about Apple to tell us, or this Android this week?
Oh, well, since you made me go there, um,
I just want to make sure you get your check, homeboy.
this isn't actually this may get my check rescinded, but actually Taylor Swift has recently penned a letter, um,
Oh, I heard about that.
yeah, condemning Apple, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
for those who don't know, Apple Music, we actually did a show about the Apple presentation, and Big Baba Rob and I actually did a long segment on Apple Music. Taylor Swift has come out against Apple Music because there's been some controversy concerning the rollout. Apple has actually asked
Independence.
independents and labels, regular labels, to forego payment for 3 months. While yeah, because they're doing the 3 month free trial. So Apple being Apple is basically saying, well, since we're giving it away for free, we don't feel like we should be cutting no paychecks either.
You are so
But they said, however, after the 3 month free trial, they will increase the rate of royalties to kind of make up for the fact that you didn't get paid for 3 months. Some people were like, well, that's not enough. I'm still going 3 months without the money, and there's no guarantee that all the people who listen to my stuff for free are going to come back you know, and come back and still listen to my stuff during the paid period. That being said, Taylor Swift has finally came out and she basically said, well, you're not going to have my latest album, 1989, on there because of this. And she basically burned them by saying, look, we don't ask you for free iPhones, so don't ask us for free music. So that's basically the controversy going on with Apple Music right now. And personally, I think this is just turned into a PR disaster, more or less. I know Apple is probably just saying whatever because they have the brand recognition, but I think Tim Cook should unleash that bank account and just, even though Apple's giving it away for free, they should still compensate the artists out of their money as it's not like they don't have it. I mean, Apple has more cash on hand than some small countries. So that's the Apple news. That's all I have. I have nothing to say about Android. Android speaks for itself.
Okay. Look, just trying to make sure you got your paycheck for your weekly
No,
installment.
I just got a deduction.
Well, hey, take the good with the bad. News is news, even if your name is in the news.
That's
Hey,
called whistleblowing, Apple. You can't fire me. I'm protected.
Actually, fair enough if you think about it. We're talking about Taylor Swift. I mean, she's an internet killer by herself. Just with the massive following she has. So really,
I
what
don't
you're
get
saying,
it.
what?
Personally.
It's not for you, homeboy. Everything ain't. It doesn't.
I tried
for
listening
everyone,
to
but
some of that 1989. I just
no, you gotta. I mean, you gotta look at what she talks
I'm
about. She talks
kind of
about.
with you on that one. I'm a Katy Perry fan, though.
That's fair enough. But I mean, you
open.
gotta.
Oh, boy, we must see. You see what happens when you go doing these things. You start admitting that stuff on live
Oh, getting
television.
announcement.
Listen, I like Katy Perry.
Yeah, as I was sitting there shocked in the
She
chair,
looked crazy as
somebody
all
came
hell without her
in.
makeup on, though.
Now let's not judge. Let's
Nah,
not
man.
judge.
Speaking of
Can we
makeup,
be
who saw that
honest?
picture
I like
Tyra
Katy
Banks put
Perry.
out there?
I like her music, but when you take off her makeup, she looked like a whole different person.
No,
Like,
no. I got
whole
one
other
for you.
person.
No,
The
Tyra Banks. I have to give Tyra credit, and I really respect why she did it. Her motives were awesome. And she basically said a lot of people see her, and models in general, and have this big picture of what it must be like to be a model. So she said she got up the other day and was just like, look, this is what I really look like. She didn't do anything. She literally just took the picture, posted it on Instagram, And I kid you not.
She said she's like, I look toe up, don't I?
Yeah, she did. You know how crazy Tyra is. And so I was staring at that picture for like 5 minutes.
Hold up.
I said, oh, there's a mole there and a mole there. That's definitely her.
Hold up. Pop Billy, how many years have we been saying that? And you Tony just be like, I don't want to hear it.
Since forever.
A lot of these people, you see what they look like without makeup, and I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying, like, look, that's what they really look like. You know, because to me, you know what I feel like
I should have never brought Tyra up. You just looking
at
you.
I don't feel like
you just want to insult her. While
I'm not insulting her. I'm just being real. Like sometimes people put too much makeup on their face, and sometimes that's what they look. That's where they get their beauty from. There are people who look beautiful without it. I don't think you need to cake your face with makeup.
People, are you talking about just women in particular? Like, are we just talking about women and judging of women?
Watch yourself. You're getting beside yourself.
I'm talking about people who wear a lot of makeup. Now,
okay, I feel like that's cool. Okay.
Some dudes are up in that mix, but I don't know them. I know.
So you're talking about women?
No, I'm talking about dudes in particular.
Well,
I know dudes that wear makeup.
All I'm saying is that a lot of time women don't wear makeup to impress men or whatever. They're wearing it because they feel a certain way about
it. Whatever your reasoning is for wearing the makeup is not.
Hold on, I gotta ask the boys some popcorn.
Yeah, whatever your reason for wearing the makeup is not the point. What I'm saying is people put on too much stuff sometimes. Like I have to get at me. I'm like, yo, why are you putting all that stuff? You don't really need it. And some people feel that way. Some people say, I just want to cake my face like this just cause. If that's what you're doing, then okay. But that doesn't change what I'm seeing. That doesn't change. Like I said, like some people wear like, let's see what you look, because what you do is, because to me, and this is just Face's personal opinion since you took it there.
I feel it anyway. You've been there for a second.
Like for the way I feel, like, oh look, you don't have to do it like that. I don't feel like you have to do it like that. You got some people that do it because they feel like this is what I got to do. It ain't that serious.
And some people just enjoy it like it's art form, you know.
If that's
different
what you
strokes,
feel, different strokes. If you're saying I put this on my face because it's art,
or because I like the way it looks in the mirror that day or whatever, I don't know.
No. But some people, but what you see is
into the battle of sexes conversation.
Yeah, what you see is sometimes what you see.
I'm just saying, we went on Tyra and it was just like, oh, she didn't have any makeup on, she looked like a completely different person. What's up with that? But it's like, I mean, everyone wears, whatever face they
Okay. Let me get involved in this. I like Tyra personally. Which is probably which probably.
I'm more team Naomi, but yeah.
That Violet, never mind.
I mean, you can't deny. I've seen Naomi without makeup, and I think she looks great. I mean, she just has that look. So.
Yeah, but she's Violet. Anyway.
I thought, are we judging her personality or just looks? I don't know.
No, it's because she beat up on people. Haven't you been watching the news?
That's not new. That's not new. Her throwing her phone at somebody or something. That's
like 20 years of assault. I don't know why I brought it up, but as a person who was forced to put on makeup one time, when I had a CNN interview and they put me in makeup, I personally don't, know how people do it. They put all that stuff on my face, that foundation stuff, and I literally felt like they had put something on top of my face. I could not breathe. It was whew. And I said to myself, wow, people wear this every day. Men and women, because they do those TV shows. I was watching, what's his name, Strahan? that TV show. He was in the makeup chair, and I was like, I don't know how you do it. Because that stuff is, but anyway.
Well, anyway, okay. So here's what I'm gonna do.
I don't want to lose half my followers on.
I'm gonna grab I'm gonna grab the steering wheel of this show, and
Team
Tyra. I'm gonna turn this joker, and we're gonna talk about geeky stuff. Because if we go any further, it's going to be.
Because if any of the female blurs out there who listen to this get in, we in trouble. Because Jamie and them will start a small army to come and get us.
Yeah. Well,
we're
anyway.
gonna come get Face.
Face.
Where's the luminous?
Oh gosh, Yo, fortunately, through the beauties of editing, we can always pull the show off and take out this entire chunk. So that I say. And now,
I still see Katy Perry on stage.
everything else that just happened
Never
doesn't exist anymore.
happened.
Congratulations. All right, so let's get to the conversation about E3 because we're getting long in the tooth anyway. So last week we had the E3 conference, which talked about some of the latest in gaming technology news. Just lots of innovations that came out of E3 from a lot of different folks. But everyone wants to ask, like, who won E3? I think honestly, at the end of the game, we won. I think the gaming community won in some way, shape, or form, no matter how you looked at it. We there was something pretty much for everybody, whether it was a nostalgia piece like they announced that Doom is coming out, and it looks beautiful as a person who played and finished Doom maybe twice. I think I finished Doom twice. Just
You finished Doom?
yeah, I finished Doom
Uh,
twice.
Did I ever
Hey,
finish?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
What do
This
you
just
well,
this
who are you
just popped
apologizing
up
for?
29 seconds ago. Eddie Q from Apple just tweeted on his Twitter account. Apple Music will pay artists for streaming even during customers' free trial period. So I guess Taylor Swift has changed up the game.
What I tell you? What did I tell you?
He literally did the last tweet before these last two was June 17th. Congratulations to the Warriors. And 1 minute ago, he typed, Apple will always make sure that artists are paid. And then 29 seconds ago, Apple Music will pay artists for streaming even during customers' free trial, period.
Deaconis, you know what this means, don't you? You know what this means, don't you? They're watching the Black Geeks right now.
Oh, is that what it is?
That's what it is. That was we did that.
Okay, Eddie, then. If you listen to me right now, I would like a 5K iMac, a Mac Pro. What else I want?
Can
I
I
got
get
everything else.
I want
Oh,
an
let
Air.
me get one of them gold Apple
I want an
watches.
Air. Give me an Air. I want an Air.
No, you don't.
Yeah, a MacBook Air would be fine.
Oh, I'll take a MacBook Air. No,
Yeah.
I actually want to take I would love to take a MacBook Air out for a spin. I mean, I don't want to sit here and criticize them all the time and not having used it. So I'll take a Mac Air.
Really?
Yeah, I told y'all that. Well,
You
I
get
know.
iPhone?
No, hell no. I'll take the computer. I'll take.
Why won't you get an iPhone?
No, I have no.
Never
no,
used one.
No.
Yeah, I have a MacBook Air.
You never used an iPhone.
You're right. You're right. I haven't. But
I'll
from an
I'll
Android
defend
platform.
my brother Rob in this one instance. His engineering background. He's really into hardware. Like he thoroughly enjoyed the Apple event where they went over hardware and they went over the MacBook. I could see him with a laptop. I don't think I see him with a smartphone though.
I'm not carrying one of those cutie patootie phones around. That's not gonna happen.
Cutie patootie.
Cutie patootie.
Look, just don't give in to the insults. This is temporary. This is a temporary insult. It is like a year from now. You
I
know,
like my
You know
Samsung
what Bob Rob is? You know what Bob Rob is? He's
An
that
Apple
dude.
hater? What's
No,
going on?
no, you are an Apple hater, but he's that dude that walked around telling everybody, I don't know why you buying tapes. 8 tracks is where it's at. He did that. It wasn't until 90. It wasn't until 96 that dude was like, you know what?
Betamax. I don't know
Yeah,
why.
this dude just kept it until they was like, you will buy something else other than this dang 8-track. He didn't want to do it. He wouldn't even buy a car if it didn't have the 8-track connect.
Dude, I don't know why people buying 8-track. Let's just go back to vinyl. Dude, forget 8-track. Yeah, I had. It's so funny because I actually had a favorite 8-track. I had one of Earth, Wind and Fire's 8-tracks, the one with fire on it. I did. I actually had one, and it was my 8-track, and I brought it because we had a '79 Cadillac Sedan DeVille, and I used to plug that joker in, play my Earth, Wind and Fire on it. I got out the car, took that joker with me, and brought it back. So yes, maybe I'm dating myself a bit, but yes.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Yes, you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, it is. It is. What it is.
I don't know if anyone else on this show
I
can really
think, I think,
actually.
I think my grandma was the last one to have the 8-track, and I remember.
Yeah, exactly. I think I seen one of my grandmother's things.
That's what you just
I've
did.
never
just now.
even seen an 8-track.
So I should preface the comment with I wasn't
A relic.
driving. I wasn't driving the Cadillac. I was
Yes, you,
riding in it.
yes, you were. Dude,
Drop
that joint had chrome curb fillers on it and everything, didn't it?
No, I actually didn't. But I did learn to negotiate the streets of DC in that Cadillac. So, which is why my driving prowess is what it is today.
Uh-huh. We
it.
need Ghost on this show to kind of balance you out right there. 'Cause right now, yeah, granddad. You sound like
It's not a good look,
Yeah.
Granddad.
gang recognized gang granddad.
Granddad.
You
Oh,
get kind of familiar.
I would go on, but the rating of the show needs to stay where it is. All right, so back to E3.
I had to try the biscuit. Sorry.
All right, Geekonius, your comments on E3, my friend.
E3. Well, Face is probably gonna say no, but word on the street is this is the best E3 in years. I will say it's definitely the best for Microsoft in the last couple of years. Microsoft, and I only highlight them not because of any biases, but because of they just did a solid presentation. The reality is though, the console makers is just it's not really about them anymore. I mean, at the end of the day, Microsoft has Forza and Halo. There's a couple of properties Sony has. It seems like the bar keeps shifting with them, but they've come out with some great IP like Uncharted, The Last of Us in the last couple of years. But they don't have any like franchises you can expect every year. But other than that, it's the software makers. I mean, Bethesda, BioWare, EA, Ubisoft, those are the kings of E3 at this point, and they're on every platform save Nintendo in some instances. And I'm gonna tell you, this year, Ubisoft and EA, they really went hard this year, in my opinion. And how can we forget Bethesda? Fallout 4 basically won E3 by itself. So
Yeah.
that's my opinion. It's the publishers really killed it this year.
Go ahead, Face.
No, I was gonna say because I would not have thought to have bought Fallout until I saw the presentation. They had me wanting to be like, I'm finna go buy the game right now. If
Yeah,
if
if
it was
they
out.
just said available now, I think everybody.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing about for me for E3. I feel like no matter what, from a cinematic standpoint or just from a presentation standpoint, perhaps it was the greatest E3 ever, if that's what y'all saying. But if that's the case, then this is a disappointment. This means all E3s was just trash. And I say that because to me, when I watch E3, I should be saying to myself, like with Fallout, if I'm not saying to myself, now I can get behind that, I can't wait for that to come out, then I didn't feel that way about anything. I told you, like the Nintendo, it was what Nintendo did. When you really step back and look at it, wasn't nothing great. It was one of the first ones I saw, and it had me feeling nostalgic for a second. And I actually have a Wii. I have a Wii and a Wii U for the kids. They actually enjoy playing it, and I enjoy playing it with them, but only with them. I don't. Other than when Star Wars Force Unleashed came out, which, by the way, if you haven't played Force Unleashed on a Wii, you've never played Force Unleashed. That's a fact. But other than that, I haven't really thought to myself, I'm going to buy a game for Wii for me. It's always been, I'm going to buy something for the kids, and I'm going to play with them. And it's fun to play, but there was nothing that I saw in E3 that made me feel like I want to play video games again. Like, I haven't played an EA game. I haven't played Madden or Live or anything like that for years now, going on 3-4 years now. And you can ask Econius, because I used to get in that tail all the time. I'm all about Madden. I'm all about Live.
Oh,
Don't
wow.
look like that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I played Madden like 4 times in the last.
Okay, but you called me out once and then you never did it again. But so what I'm saying is, I used to love playing those games. There was nothing that I saw that made me want to get back on it, which is unfortunate because I love those games. And that's why when I say I saw EA, the presentation was thorough and it was fun to watch, but I didn't feel like I was going to go and buy that game now. There was nothing I saw that changed the game up. Like the argument that y'all had on Soul Brothers show which I wanted to get a part of, which is going to probably shock you. Because when the beginning of the mic, because you know how they did the pregame for each one, and then they did the show, like they had the pregame for Microsoft. It's like a 30-minute pregame where they had the maker of the original Xbox and the press guy, who's not really important, but he was on there, so they wanted to make him feel important, so he started talking. They started talking about all the new things that Xbox is going to, what to expect for what they were going to do in the presentation. One of the things he said, which was, I thought was a big deal, he was saying how Microsoft had focused in years previous on being a everything device. So they focused on media and all that stuff, not so much the games. He actually said it. We made a push to focus more on being able to connect. And if you go to, like, say you go to somebody like Iconia's house, he has it pretty much wired into his entire entertainment system. And I kind of think that's cool. I think that's cool. However, being a gamer, you don't really care for all of that stuff. But I think setting stuff up like the Kinect and what it is, the Kinect to me is technology that will be used at some point more often than not. I know right now the only real game for Kinect that you can honestly get behind is Dance Central. What's it called? What's the game actually
Dance
called?
Central and Just Dance. Those are only two different games.
But I think it's one of those things where they just haven't. That's technology that's probably ahead of itself, that hasn't caught on in the market yet. Like I said, if you played Force Unleashed in the Wii, you could pull that off and Connect probably better than you did in the Wii, but they just haven't done it yet. And that's technology that people who game hard, since there's nothing for them right now, they don't really care for it right now until they actually go all in with the games. But it's no different than when they first came out with PlayStation. I think the only two games that was really hot was Tekken and Madden, and that was it. But you saw what ended up happening. PlayStation became a thing. I think they now this year made more of a push, at least from a marketing standpoint, to push the games more than the actual being able to connect to all your stuff in your house and being part of your entertainment set, which is all good and everything. But going back to my point, I didn't see anything that made me that excited on any front. I was not that excited to see, oh, I'm going to start buying that now, other than Fallout. And some of the stuff was cool. I'm not saying E3 was boring. There was nothing that made me say I got to go get an Xbox One now, or I got to get a PlayStation 4 now. Nothing.
Well, let me piggyback on what Faye said. I think that one thing that developers and have a challenge doing is making something that's fresh and new at this point. I think one of the few truly fresh and new to me, as not I'm not a consoler, so some of the console things I don't honestly don't appeal to me. I respect gaming in all the forms. But one of the true innovations of what I saw, because the open world concept is what has been, steadily growing and growing. No Man's Sky offered one of the freshest looks at a new, fresh environment, new, fresh look. If you look at a lot of the games, to Face's point, they were either remakes, they were the next version of something. Even the announcement of a new Mass Effect potentially. But one thing that I saw a lot of was the emphasis on the multiplayer, and I feel that developers want you to play their games, and they want you to spend their money on the games, and they want you to spend money on DLCs as well. So a lot of what I saw really wasn't that new and fresh that got me terribly excited. Obviously, for those who have followed our show for the many years that we've been on, as a longtime blacksmith in in Skyrim, Fallout offered probably one of the most exciting things to me, and that was the ability to build and basically craft my own residence and use the multiple things that I gather. I finished Fallout 3. I never finished New Vegas. It just got too long in the tooth. There were just too many missions for me. But to Face's point, I would say that I wasn't excited as I probably could have been about some of the announcements. Doom was exciting for me, but yeah, I agree with you. There wasn't really anything. I don't know. I think that, in all honesty, Xbox probably made the most appealing pitch to me for new technology in terms of if I was going to jump ship and if I was going to diversify my platform and go to a console, I think Xbox clearly made the best case for why you should come to that environment, not only just for the technology, but just for the depth and breadth of games that they're offering. Um, but I think for me, EA was a little bit of hum ha. There were some bad presentations. I'm going to go ahead and say they were bad. They really weren't that great. It's so very interesting, and I want to applaud. I don't think anybody really gives these guys credits. Some of the people who are behind the scenes, they're not public speakers. It's very obvious they're not public speakers. It's very obvious they spend a lot of time with somebody trying to help them be able to stand up on stage and give presentations, and they go out there and they do it. Some of them don't do that great, but they are the people who are making the stuff. So it's good that they come out and they step out and they take those steps. I mean, I'm sure a lot of those guys would just prefer to be at a desk or be in their meetings and just developing and building and crafting these games for us. But a lot of those guys, they stepped out there. Um, but EA definitely had a strong showing, I thought, and definitely Ubisoft. The Division, definitely looking forward to Division. But I saw such a strong push for the multiplayer environment in a lot of stuff. I thought it was pretty good. Geekonius, from just the technology side, what would you say was one of the strongest pieces of technology that we saw out of E3?
As far as technology, E3 isn't necessarily known for introducing new technology. It would have to be the Microsoft HoloLens. Um, I'm not completely sold on the whole VR thing. In fact, when we were on Geek Sober Show that night, I made a joke about the Nintendo attempt in the '90s. The what's it called? The God, I forgot the name of it. Not the Game Boy, the Virtual Boy, and how it was just all red, and you put the little thing on there. Come on, y'all didn't know y'all remember that thing. And but I just was kind of like, it was a nice presentation. I don't know if it's going to pick off, but as far as new technology, Microsoft was basically the only people who introduced new technology. They introduced HoloLens. They introduced the fact that the Xbox is going to be backwards compatible for the 360, and even Sony later came out with it was an article came out this week where Sony said even they were shocked that Microsoft did that and that they would never do that for the PS4 because quite frankly they can't. He was saying the technology used between the different generations just too radically different for them to engineer it to play PlayStation 3 games. Um, and at the end of the day, Microsoft pulled the okey doke on them because the Xbox One is actually Windows based. And in fact, they announced that later this year when they come out with the new Xbox experience, it's going to be literally running a version of Windows 10. So they're unifying the platform. So that's why they're able to just run an emulator and play 360 games. So I mean, that was all, and they came out with a new controller. So that's when Microsoft basically went. They had several new technology things, and no one else did that. So if you say best tech out of E3, it's going to be Microsoft. They're basically the only ones who did it.
Yeah, uh, so very true. There's another angle. There's another angle that I wanted to um, take on the E3 conference, and I think it's something that's near and dear to all of our hearts, is diversity. One thing that I did see that we saw in several different presenters where they talked about the female character. Where they talked about, because that's been one of the big pushes for diversity. I mean, granted, we're always looking for people of color as well, but with a lot of the characters now, you do have multiple skins, and there are a lot of different things that you can do with skin color. But I think one of the big pieces that I saw out of it was we're starting to see I consider it a slow turn, but it's turning nonetheless. That more manufacturers understand that we got the female gaming community is huge, and they constitute a huge consumer base. So we're starting to see that turn where they're adding more female playable characters in there. But in terms of people of color, I know Dark Phoenix had one particular thing that she's liked out of E3. I'll let her speak for herself.
Oh no, it was just that Angela Bassett was like a surprise for most people, and then she came out and it was like, oh my god, Angela Bassett, and she's in one of the games, and she was like badass in one of the games because she's like the boss, and what is it, Rainbow Six? I think it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that was pretty cool. I think when she did come out, it was like a huge thing that I saw, like my Twitter feed and stuff kind of went crazy with most people saying, oh my gosh, like they actually included us, like these games that was going on, and which was, and it was one of those things where it's like, oh, like how rare is this that when Andy West comes on that it's such a huge big deal for people. But yeah, I thought that was a kind of a highlight for me with it. I think there were a few things that I noted as people talking about it that also like what you were saying about the female thing. I know Chun-Li's breasts don't stop moving in some of the news streams. No, I mean they don't. Like if you see it, like I saw some clips of it, and they just kept moving, and that's not how they work. That's not.
No sports bras or nothing. No sports bras. And Chun-Li, out of all the characters they did, I could see if they did that to Cammy, but Chun-Li, why'd y'all do that to her?
Right, and it was just like, and I saw it, and I checked it out, and it was just
Street Fighter
like
character for the arcade.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they overdid it. I think they overdid
that
it
was,
in places. They didn't have to go
they
that road.
always seem to overdo with the female anatomy in some of these games, and some of the outfits that aren't very practical that they tend to be wearing. And I think another thing with Robert mentioned the Fallout game, the mobile game. Isn't there a thing I'm hearing where the men on there don't talk to the pregnant women, and then they also pass by? They only talk to the women that are single. That's what I'm hearing from the Fallout mobile game. Did you experience that? You're playing it, right?
No,
because I think that's fact.
I haven't played it yet.
You can't play it. It's only available for Apple.
I know.
Yeah.
It's not out for Android yet. But
that's what I'm hearing on there. That like, if the woman's pregnant, if the woman's already pregnant, the guys pass them by, and they only talk to the women that are not pregnant yet.
Geekonies, have
because it's like some 1950s kind of gender roles thing going on there.
Geekonies?
I'm afraid to answer this question because
this is just a fact.
Because no, it's not, because it says something about me that I didn't notice this. I put in some.
You didn't notice, yeah.
I done put some hours into this game at this point, like literally some serious hours into this game, and it had never occurred to me. And I've been doing the whole pregnancy thing a lot, to increase my population. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing too, having to increase the population by knocking up women and things. So yeah,
that's the only way you're going to increase the population.
All right.
What are we talking about? Yeah, you want to increase the population by knocking up. How are you supposed to do it? What are we talking about now?
You know what
But you get what I'm saying? That's the thing. And then the fact that the men like don't actually stop to talk to the pregnant women. I also hear the pregnant women aren't very smart once they're pregnant. That it's only the women who are not pregnant that actually have a conversation.
No. I know that's not true, because you can put the pregnant women anywhere you want, just as if they weren't pregnant, and do the same jobs to do resources. Right. They just can't fight. Like if your vault gets raided by outsiders or these crazy bugs, they don't fight and they're not attacked. Neither are the kids, though. The kids can't fight and they're not attacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just basically heard that they become kind of useless, aside from the fact that they're pregnant.
They're not useless. Their stats don't change and their productivity doesn't change. So, like, if you have a female working in the power plant and she's pregnant, you just put her back in the power plant and she continues doing her thing until there's a kid or whatever. But and then she's able to fight. The only thing they don't do is they don't let them fight. I think they can actually explore, though. I was reading somewhere that you can send them out to explore, and they're actually immune to a lot of the things that happen with the explorers. But I haven't noticed the conversation. I don't know. It's not me just not paying attention. It's really that I play from a further out like godlike view, so they're really tiny on my screen, so I can see the whole vault at one time. I never actually zoom in like you could zoom into a particular room, and there's this fake conversation going back and forth. So I haven't noticed. I'll definitely when I
You
pull it up on the iPad later, I'm definitely gonna pull it up and record the screen and post it if it's true.
Okay.
yeah. I was gonna say,
Yeah,
that's
let
your
me know. Because
yeah
that's what
that's
I'm hearing those complaints from like women play. Like, yeah, they just pass
Really?
by. Yeah.
yeah that's your homework. You got to report out on that. I
I'm
think
nervous now because like I
yeah
feel bad if that's the case. And it's
And
been
you
like
didn't notice.
yeah.
it's hard to notice if you actually saw the game.
Well, you're
You
on a
know,
mission to repopulate. So, yeah, you got to just.
I think I have a fundamental problem with that. I don't think that's appropriate for a mobile game.
it's
I don't
not.
that's not appropriate at all.
It's
I don't
Fallout.
like that. Dude, no. What there's no other game that okay, I gotta sit back and really think about that. I can't think of any other game that your mission is to repopulate the
That's
planet.
not your. That's not your mission. Hold on. Hold on.
Hold on,
Uh,
no.
no,
It's
You
an
it's not. No,
accident.
no, no. What the goal of the game is to manage a vault by increasing the people in the vault. There's several ways you can do that. There's several ways you can do that. There's not pregnancy is just one way. The other way is you create a radio room and people can broadcast messages saying, "Hey, here's the vault." So you get people with enough stats and like charisma for whatever, and people show up at the vault in like a steady stream. Like initially, like your first like 10 or so are just random people who show up and you drag them into the vault. You can send people out on exploration missions. They'll come back with people. You can win awards and you can get special characters. So you can actually build the population of your vault never once during the pregnancy thing. Not one time. That is just a solution that is there if you don't want to go through all the recruiting and all the other stuff. You can create an option where they can actually you put a male and a female character in the quarters, and eventually if they have the same compatibility with like The Sims or something, they'll eventually start dating or something, and the woman to get pregnant in a day or so or 3 hours later, they'll end up having a kid, and then they got another member in the vault. That's just one option. There's like at least three other options to populate the vault.
okay. All right, because understand the way that you presented it felt very Grand Theft Auto. Like, oh, hey, you got to make a baby. We gotta make more people over here. Hey, you got to have a baby over here too. Come here, let me come see you.
And
Okay,
you gotta also remember the game is very cartoony and very downplayed. It's not that deep.
okay,
It's typical tongue in cheek Fallout stuff. These little cartoon characters, and he'll say something like, "I've been walking around the vault all day, and I feel like," stupid pickup lines. And then you'll see them doing like dancing with each other, and then they'll
yeah,
disappear. You'll see smiley faces, and then she
Like
comes out,
this.
she's pregnant.
okay.
Huh? The Sims is worse by a long shot. If you ever played The Sims,
Yeah,
they
I
be
have. I have.
and yeah, I used to be a Simmer. They got rid of Maxis.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to ask that question. And by the way, Fallout was not that tongue in cheek. There was some real serious. I remember
Well,
rolling.
for the mobile game,
Okay.
it's
All
tongue.
right. For the mobile game, because I remember I was in New Vegas and I rolled up in a casino and I was minding my cotton picking business. Next thing you know, I'm in a freaking firefight with like 13 other dudes just because I walked in their casino out of nowhere. So, oh no, that's right. I shot the dude.
What?
I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Okay, it was I
You
swear.
What had happened was.
What had happened was
bragging about having an Android, and you was like, what? And then y'all got into a firefight. That's what happens with y'all.
that's typically the way it was. I mean, if I
Was
remember,
there Apple logo outside the bar, Rob? Did you
no, I
pay
can't
attention
remember
when you
what
walked
it was.
in?
He went into the Genius bar. That's what had happened. And he was like, look, I got my Android. I want y'all to fix the chip. They looked at you like, you don't do that here, sir. And you was like, this a Genius bar, ain't it? Genius, fix my chip. And then y'all had a problem. That's what ended up happening.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Don't ask to turn over my weapons in Fallout. I'm like, nah, you can't have my weapons. And yeah, we're done with that conversation. All right, so we got one more topic we want to cover, and it's getting late in the evening.
Well, hold up real quick.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Faith.
What I was going to ask is, who was all in with the fighting games? Because that was one of
There was
again
only one Street Fighter, and
Street
that was
Fighter.
for PS4. Those sellouts.
What y'all think about it though?
I think Capcom is an
And I
embarrassment.
and I say that because I haven't been feeling fighting games. Even when Mortal Kombat 10 came out, I haven't been feeling fight. I'm gonna tell you why. Because to me, DLCs killed the game. DLCs killed DLCs. We brought that up kind of in Soul Brother Drum. We kind of glanced over it. DLCs killed it. Think about it. I mean, games have always cost $60. I don't know what part of that people thought is brand new. Maybe it's because we're young.
No, they haven't. Not for PC.
Yes,
Yes, they have.
No, they have not.
Yes, games have always been between $39 and $59.99. That's
right.
That's not new. That's not new.
Yeah, no. What's new is that almost every single the major game that comes out, if you look right now on Steam,
Hey, stop.
Major games.
Whoa. Rob is talking about PC. We're talking about consoles.
Oh, yep, that's the difference. That's a different conversation.
A key difference. PC games have gotten expensive over the years. Because PC games were never the same price as console games.
Because no one
played them.
That community was not that big back in the day. It just
that's true. They did not. No, Rob, you have to remember.
You're speaking from the PC community.
The PC community in the early 90s.
It was not that big.
They didn't have a lot of the major publisher titles. They did have their own little games, their own communities. Like
games? What are you talking about? PC?
When I mean, like
for instance, in
the console era, when the consoles first got big, Nintendo, Sega, stuff like that, you didn't have no huge platformers like Sonic or Mario or Zelda or games like that. I mean, you still had your Myst, you had your Doom, you had your Wolfenstein, you had games like that, but they were not well known on the same level of the marketing blitz we got with Mario and Sonic. You can't say that, PC games were on the same level of Tetris. It just wasn't. It's not until the modern era, and that's one of the reasons why PC games were $30 and below. In the modern era, the major platformers are now making their products for every, for PC, Mac, consoles as well. So they're charging across the board. So the PC people are rightfully like, we're not used to paying $60 per game because they just wasn't that expensive. And in fact, even when they started doing cross-platform a lot more in the late 90s, the PC version was still cheaper. It would be like, for the console, it was one price, and for the PC, it was like $10, $20 cheaper.
Who remembers that? Who was standing in line to buy Madden for the PC? Nobody.
But that's because Madden. Well, no, when Madden was out for the PC. No. It originally was for the PC, and then they abandoned us completely.
In '88, it was only for the consoles. I've been buying Madden since '88. It was not for the PC.
Yeah, I bought something. I had like 12 and 13. I think it was. No, was it 12 and 13? No, it was
12
further
and
back.
13.
Yeah, early on.
'88, it was only for the consoles.
Yes, I agree.
Later in the game, they let it be for the PCs. No one was buying it like that. No one was buying it like that.
No one had computers. That's
no one had a computer that was that strong back then, dude. Like, you're talking, and I'm talking about.
You gotta remember, no one had computers. I think the first time I saw a person have their own computer was probably about 95, 96, maybe a little bit earlier than that. Yeah. But
I mean, I had my own computer.
When I first saw a word processor.
Yeah, I had my own computer, but you're talking about us. You're talking about guys who built their own computers at the age of 11. That's not normal. I didn't
know what a computer was.
I'm normal.
Whatever, dude. Hey, what's the square foot?
None of us are normal.
Yeah, a normal person can't answer that question right out the gate. I don't care what you say.
We are debating about computers and video games and when they came out and cross-platforming and blah, blah, blah. That's not normal. If we were talking about the Real Housewives,
Well, I say all that. What I want to say on top of this, I say all that to say, like, all right, so the games cost. The $60 game is not new to most. If you have ever been in the console. I mean, hell, my first Burger Time cost like $49.99. Freaking Burger Time for Intellivision.
That's ridiculous.
Really? Exactly.
Went there.
But yeah, you just dated yourself. But I think what ends up happening is Street Fighter would cost $60 back in the day, but I was okay with it because every character that they created was in that dang game.
Mm-hmm.
So if they came out with the new when they first came out with Fei Long and the Nighthawk and all that stuff, that was awesome. They were all in that game.
Super Street Fighter, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you got Mortal Kombat, how many characters was in there? Like 50 damn characters at one point? When they first came out with Stryker and Cabal and all that stuff. That was the deepest one. That was because that was the one I played nonstop with all.
It was
like 30, 40 characters. And that was
20 something, but that was still huge for them.
I think it was more than 20.
No, because you got to remember most fighters back then had 8 to 10 tops. And
yeah, but that was a game that killed it because they doubled or damn near tripled it, including hidden characters. And that you didn't have to pay for the hidden characters. And that was my point. The game was what it was. Now you'll buy a game like the last Tekken I bought literally had 13 characters and you had a DLC the rest. I'm not a fan of that. I spent $60 for the game. Yeah. I want all the damn characters. If you was gonna say now in the DLC Freddy Krueger or Jason and you had the choice to want to do Freddy Krueger or Jason, that's one thing. Making half the characters DLC or coming out with a package of 4 here, 4 there. Then you gotta spend another $4.
Don't forget the costumes.
Oh, then they if you want a new costume, you gotta pay another $4.99. And they hit you off with it's only $4.99. It's $5. No, it's $4.99. It's $5.
They did the same thing with the wrestling games. I bought WWE 2K15, and it was like I had to pre-order. You can see, you probably can see it in the background, the Hulk Hogan thing, to get Hulk Hogan and Sting, and it was just like, yo. That's because at the end of the day, most modern games, you're gonna pay about $100 for the game when it's all said and done.
I paid $100-something for the game. Now, the last fighting game I bought was Tekken. I was mad. I got mad and I was like, I'm not gonna keep buying characters. I spent $60 for the game. Just give me all the characters now. Just give me all the characters now. So I would enjoy it.
I will at least say back to E3. I would have liked the option to buy Street Fighter. But Capcom has decided that even though people like me have been putting my quarters in your machines and playing your games since I was like 8 years old, because I have an Xbox, I'm not worthy to play the current Street Fighter. So
you're not.
Well, I would just slaughter everybody anyway. So
no, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Come to my house and prove that.
Yeah.
Well, I would destroy you. You have no clue how good I am in Street Fighter. That is just not a competition. It is not.
Just to remind you, are we talking about Street Fighter 5?
Yes, I'm talking about Street Fighter 5.
You do know that it's going to be on Steam, right?
That's called PC.
I'm just reminding you, sir. You said that you don't have access to it. You have a Steam account. I'm just reminding you that it's on Steam. So they didn't totally abandon you. You do have access to it.
They didn't abandon you at all, sucker. What you got to say about
I don't play fighting games on the computer. There you go.
Why not? Well, that's personal preference then. That's personal preference then.
Because you do it. You can't use your Xbox remote. Just saying. You have no excuse.
Just shut up.
So
you have your Xbox remote. I don't like the ecosystem. I don't.
Oh, here we go with this dude. Oh,
I like playing my fighting games on a console. I've been playing it on the console since Super Nintendo. I feel like I should continue to play it.
Well, they were on the Xbox back in the day. You was playing it.
I played it on the Genesis and the Nintendo.
That was the Xbox. You was able to adapt then, so why can't you adapt now?
Oh, excuse me.
Fighter 4 was on Xbox.
Wait a minute. You have enough computer parts sitting right there within 10 feet of you to build a Steam box. There's your console.
I don't want.
I'm just making. Okay, I'm just making a point. I'm giving you 2 viable options that you can play your Street Fighter.
So like I have like SSDs just sitting there.
Again, I'm just saying. All right, so let's get to this Game of Thrones. Wait a minute, hold on. So wait a minute. Let me ask because I know that it's late.
Did we even talk about Game of Thrones at this point?
I'm gonna say, do we? Because we can always do a small breakout show. Because I mean, this is enough content for an
It's too
entire
late.
show.
It's now or never. It's already been a week.
Has it been a week? Okay.
Jon Snow
Yeah, that was
dead.
last week.
Definitely been a week.
Jon Snow died. Shireen died. Stannis died.
I'm not so certain that John is dead.
Okay, Jon may not be dead. Stannis might not be dead.
No, Stannis is dead.
No, somebody offered up an interesting Stannis may not be dead. And they did quote George R.R. Martin and saying that George R.R. Martin said, if you don't see it, if there's not a body, you can't necessarily guarantee that they're dead. There's no body.
I don't think Jon Snow is
But
All
even
we
with
saw,
John,
all we saw was Brienne. Stannis basically said, "Do your job." When she gave that whole "I'm here for King Renly" and blah blah blah, and he was just like, "She said, did you kill him?" And he was like, "Yeah, I did it." He was like so like defeated, and they were like, "Just do your duty." And you saw her grab her sword, and then it clicked over to Ramsay, and he killed somebody. So the assumption was that they were syncing up him killing with somebody with Stannis being dead, but no one actually seen Stannis die. I'm still holding out that Stoneheart will come involved in this story.
Jon Snow is not dead because even in the books, I was like, I don't think Jon Snow is dead.
It's iffy. Like at the end of book 5, it's like real iffy if he's dead because they leave it real ambiguous. But if you look at the fact, Melisandre at Castle Black is not a coincidence. Because if you remember,
because she has the power to raise people from
exactly the same as what was done with Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah, the Lord of Light.
Lord of Light can bring him back.
Because in the book she even asked him. She said, Melisandre said something to him along the lines of, because he did it so haphazardly, and she was like, "How'd you raise him?" And he was like, "I didn't raise him. It was Valor that raised him." So,
but see, at the end of the day, like I don't feel like when in Game of Thrones, the one thing that's real, when someone's gone, they're gone. There was no if, ands, or but. Ned Stark is dead. There was no, he might be, I don't know.
But you saw his head get cut off and put on.
What I'm saying is, everybody that's got is gone. You know what I'm saying? Look like Robert, Robert Stark, he is gone. Okay,
Yeah.
Little Brat King, he's gone. They're all gone. Like it was clear, cut to the point. He ain't coming back.
Okay, so hold on. Let me read this one little paragraph because I had to reread it about this Jon Snow theory. So here's what this is the Dance of Dragons. Jon fell to his knees. He found the dagger's hilt and wrenched it free. In the cold night air, the wound was smoking. Ghost, he whispered. Pain washed over him. Stick them with the pointy end. When the third dagger took him between the shoulder blades, he gave a grunt, fell face forward into the snow. He never felt the fourth knife, only the cold.
Okay. He felt the cold. That's not saying I ain't dead. I just said I felt the cold and I went in shock. It was what is going on. Plus, you got to remember the Starks are magic. We all know what it is. So what? That's not saying I'm dead. Nah.
Well, since we're all in theory territory.
Isn't he pretty important to the storyline though? Like in terms of his lineage and things. So it's kind of like
we're not talking about that.
No, I mean he is.
I'm doing a marathon of it. I'm not completely caught up, but I talk to people and I do like spoilers or whatever. So I do have heard the theories and things. I think he's pretty important and things like that. So it seems kind of like where would they go if they completely got rid of him?
Okay,
they do because his character is kind of needed. For in the end of things anyway.
I'm gonna stop right here and say that if you are watching this show right now live, or watching this as in the archive, it is probably best that you do not listen to what's about to be said in the next minute.
Spoiler!
Because the internet is dark. The internet is dark and full of spoilers. And if you don't want to know,
spoilers are coming.
We are talking about Jon Snow parentage,
Yeah.
So there's some theories out there, and I don't think you guys want to hear this if you are wanting to be surprised. That said,
I got a couple of theories. I already put them on. I already put them on the site.
That he's not really like Ned Stark's son, right? That he's his sister's son.
Yeah, that's
because like that story in the beginning of how she ran off with the other guy.
She ran off with one of the Targaryens. Was it Aegon?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she was with Aegon. So he's part dragon and part wolf, which is interesting because the show hasn't done it hot and heavy, but the books talk about the dragon riders. And so when you talk about the dragon riders, there's 3 dragons, supposed to be 3 riders. What would make Jon interesting as one of the riders is the Starks are all like wargs to a degree. Some stronger than others. And him being part dragon, he maybe can control the dragon, with his psychic ability, if you will, for lack of a better word.
I mean, that's one of the theories, though. It's some other theories about
like in the book,
go back into
the flaming sword. That Melisandre had a prophecy.
They had a prophecy with the flaming sword, and in the book they established that Stannis does not have a flaming sword.
They thought it was Stannis at first.
Stannis at first because he had the glowing sword, and then you remember when the Targaryen, the old Targaryen, he's like, "There's no heat on that sword," and then it was
Mr. Aemon Targaryen.
Aemon, he's like, "There's no heat on that sword, so he's not. It's not him." So,
and the true dragons are not, and the true people that are blooded dragons can't be burnt by fire, like Daenerys.
Yeah.
The heat on the sword could refer to Valyrian steel because that was forged by forged in fire. I mean, so it's a lot that's unrevealed on Jon. I mean, if you go back,
and the show did go there. If y'all not caught up, the episode, either the last episode or the episode before last, after Hardhome, Jon was fighting the White Walkers. They actually did Hardhome. Have any of y'all seen Hardhome yet?
Yes, sir.
Yes, and you remember in the Hardhome episode, which was like World War Z and The Walking Dead and everything on steroids. It was the greatest thing. I watched that one clip over like 5 times. He couldn't get to the dragon glass, the obsidian, and he was fighting one of the White Walker generals
with Longclaw.
Yeah, and he swung it at him and completely shattered him. And then in the next episode, he was recounting to Sam. Sam said, "What about the dragon glass?" He said, "I couldn't get to the dragon glass." And he said, "How'd you defeat him?" He said, I hit him with the sword. And he said, "Oh, that's Valyrian steel," which basically was like, why is it that Valyrian steel can just destroy the White Walkers just as easily as the obsidian? So they might be alluding to that in the show, the flaming sword.
But Joe, if you go back into the books and you look at like how they talk about Ned Stark's quote unquote bastard, it's like 3 or 4 different stories that they float as far as who Jon's parentage might be. Like you have the Ned's nephew part, but then you also have the part where they talk about Jon's mom being basically a fishwife, a fisherman's daughter or whatever that he fathered when he was traveling, and he came back with a bag of silver and took Jon, and that's why he don't talk about it. But another story too was that before he married Catelyn Stark, he was in love with Ashara Dane, and Ashara killed herself, but before she killed herself, she had a son. Y'all all looking at me like, what the hell is he talking about?
No, I'm just getting which theory are you going with? That's what I'm.
Now, the point that I'm making is there are a lot of theories, and like right now, the way the show is lining up, because the show at this point,
the show makers know.
The show right now was moving along faster than a book, so they know how it's going to end. Ultimately, it's kind of like they leaning towards.
I
Him
think it's
being Ned's
Targaryen.
nephew, like that he's
Yeah.
half Targaryen.
Targaryen theory makes the strongest sense to me,
Hmm.
and Ned is the type that his character, whether
But
the
you know
show
he's
or the
also a
book,
Stark too.
yeah, you know,
He has a wolf.
yeah.
He has a
So,
wolf. They
you
all
know,
have wolves.
and on top of that, Ned is the type that if he made a promise like that to his dying sister,
He would keep
he
it.
would keep that to the
Absolutely.
very end. Only thing he didn't know how to do was keep his mouth shut about incest and
Yeah.
honest Ned.
He thought he had
Just leave,
everything sold
just
up.
leave now, and you won't be in trouble. Like
I have
really?
a signed paper right here, so obviously the law's on my
Well,
side.
he was doing the honorable thing, and it just shows in that kind of thing that in that kind of universe, honorable doesn't get you far. I mean, that's the same thing what happened with Rob too. You know, he tried to do the honorable thing and go to the wedding, blah blah blah.
Oh man, but you know, Rob was stupid because
That's
they
Yeah.
Rob
wild.
was
they
dumb.
was
He
they
should have
was
just
you
married.
know the first few books he was doing all this stuff military wise, but what
Hmm.
they show was he's still a boy, and his mother kept telling him, "Don't do that, don't do that. It's not a wise move. It's not a good look." You know, and in the book it was more because you know in a show they didn't do the whole setup thing. They just said he found a girl, he loved her, and that's all it was. In the book, it was more sinister than that. It
Yeah,
was
Tywin was all in that.
Tywin was all in that, like, yo, you got a daughter, send her his way, see what happens. And he was just, he actually had everything to do with that. He had a lot to do with that relationship going where it went, and he got him that way, you know. And then they were friends of the Lannisters, his and the wife, and she didn't get shanked in the book. She wasn't even there, but
Yeah.
they kept warning him, and even his wolf was like, I don't trust these people. And he kept saying, and you know, he was like, I don't know why Wolf keeps acting like that around them. And his mother was like, maybe you should trust your wolf because your wolf is trying to tell you something. And he was like, I don't have to listen to this mother. And then in the book, you're like, oh, you're being so dumb right now because there's something up with them, and he knows something, but you're not listening to anyone, your mother, your wolf, the people around you. They're trying to tell you, I don't know, something's wrong with this. And then he goes and get himself got. He could have got out of that if he paid attention. Because at some point in the book, you saw what was about to happen. I didn't see Red Wedding happening like that, but you knew something was about to go down, and he wasn't trusting anything. So he was just being stupid, you know, just utter stupidity. Whereas Ned was being dumb, but on some brand new stuff. He actually thought he was right, and
He was.
he was right. That was the difference. He was right, but there were people warning him like, "Yo, this is King's Landing, dude. You need to play the game."
And this the Lannisters too.
He's a Lannister, so he thought he had the law on his side, which technically he did, whereas Rob was wrong all the way around.
But see, the one thing the show didn't do, and they can't really do, is the book. You can kind of write off a lot of like Rob and Daenerys and a lot of stupid decisions that they make on their age. Because the show didn't make them so young as they are in the books. Because I mean, Rob was what 16
16.
at
He
the
was
Red
16.
Wedding,
Uh,
whereas in the show he's like in his 20s. Daenerys is like 14. You know, they're really young,
oh, she's
huh?
16. Is she 14 or
She
16?
might be 16 now, but when she was married to Drogo, I think she was only like 14
Oh,
because she was on it because that between Drogo and Marine was about a year or so.
She was
yeah.
14 when she first got married.
Yeah, so like even Arya is like 10 years old.
Yeah, Arya's
So
10.
So Arya is a beast. She's like
Yes.
probably one of my favorite characters in
I
the
don't
book.
care. My favorite scene of all time. Is there gold in this village? Ha! Gold in this village! Ha! Is there gold in? I was like, oh my goodness. In the book, that joint was. Oh, I love Arya though. I love her.
yeah,
Oh,
when she kirked out and killed what's his name? I can't remember from Harrenhal. But yeah, the thing is that's the one disadvantage so you just look at Rob as a star-crossed lover, if you will, versus a young boy who, even though his mother been trying to give him direction, hell, even though his direwolf was trying to give him direction, he still did what he did. But that's the beauty about this show, anyway, is that it's kind of realistic because even Tywin slipped up.
yeah, he did. He was the mighty one.
Hey, he supposed to have been the smartest one. He slipped up, and
Got caught slipping.
you know.
So that all being said, what about predictions for season 6?
I don't know.
Yeah. Number one
They're definitely
prediction:
going north of the wall.
Jon Snow is resurrected, like, or survives. That's number one prediction. And I put an article up on the site that says the King of the North is dead, maybe question mark. I feel like Jon is going to transcend. Ultimately, I feel like Jon is going to be an integral part to the survival of humanity, the end of the White Walkers. I feel like he getting a dragon. He gonna have a wolf and a dragon. He might end up being like the real.
Still got Brandon Rickon.
Yeah, he might end up still being. I feel like John's gonna end up either being the king of the Seven Kingdoms or being a part of that whole remaking of the Seven Kingdoms. Like, pivotal character. I think we got more to come from Jon. We already know Daenerys is at the head of a new Khalasar. She's gonna march back on Marine. That's gonna be tight, dude. That's coming. Book 5, that's coming.
I don't have faith in George R. Martin, and I'll just say this: he ended the book exactly where the show ended, with the Khalasar showing up. That's exactly how it ended in the book with Daenerys' story.
Not exactly.
No.
Yeah, I mean that's exactly how it ended.
It's not exactly in the book the way it
I posted
the dragons. The dragon was there, like Drogon was.
No, he wasn't.
He was flying above head. He was not. He was not. I remember. I remember the book. She had finally pseudo tamed him, but not really tamed. Remember, she could never get close to him. She finally tamed him to the point where she could not control him, but ride him. And then she was walking. He was overhead hunting. When the Khalasar showed up, he wasn't there. He was above head. So he wasn't next to her. She wasn't standing next to her. He was just flying. He was flying around.
I gotta go back and reread it. I remember him being there.
No, he wasn't around. And like I said, I just posted it from the book. I'm trying to see. I probably deleted the file from my desktop, so I can't bring it up. But
I think what ended up happening is she was in her own head, and she had just looked up, and he was flying overhead. And so she had saw him, and then she was figuring out what she gonna do because she was walking, and she was like, "I'm just gonna keep walking west." And then she came on the Khalasar, and that's how that ended.
Yeah.
She saw the dragon. He was flying, not flying away, but kind of just flying.
No, she left him. He wasn't around at all. Drogon wasn't around at all. She walked away. I can't remember why, but I just
walk away. She got off of him.
No, I just read the book. I literally just
pull up the excerpt. He wasn't just I left my dragon and I left him to go away. I'll never see him again.
Predictions.
Yeah.
Predictions. Now what's in the book?
Anyway,
prediction is Daenerys gets another Khalasar.
No, I think George R. Martin gonna screw her over. It would be right up his alley. I mean, it's like she's basically been riding the wave for a while. She got out by the skin of her teeth. Now's the time for her to get enslaved and tortured. Watch what I tell you. Nobody want to hear it, but
even if she's at the Khalasar, what they going to do is, because she's a former Khaleesi, they going to take her back to the city and put her with the rest of the former Khaleesi's. Like, they're not going to enslave her. She's just going to be trapped at the city.
If I remember when they were talking about the other Khalasars, the whole Dothraki didn't quite buy into the whole.
Yeah, all of them didn't like her.
They didn't like her as a foreigner and being Khaleesi. Yeah. It was just that Khal Drogo was so mighty, they didn't have the guts to really say anything or do anything about it. And with him out the picture and her being out the picture for a while, and the TV show kind of hinted to it. It didn't happen like that in the book, but in the TV show, one of the first things she did right when she realized it was the Khalasar, she took off the ring that Khal Drogo gave her and she threw it down into the ground.
That's interesting because see what you just said there, took off the ring is past tense. Past tense means it happened in the past. Predictions are forward looking in terms of what will happen.
I know you're having a hard time, Rob. I know you're having a hard time understanding that that we were talking about a prediction, and that I know you got lost when you heard the word book because you don't really like dealing with books. But saying that she took off the ring ties right into the prediction of what's going to happen to her. I was validating the prediction by saying they're probably going to go in that direction because she took the ring off.
I like that.
The point I was making.
Forward thinking. I love that. Forward thinking.
Well, I'm not there yet because I'm still like getting up to the current seasons. But knowing what I know, I do think Jon Snow is going to come back somehow. I know I heard that the actor did cut his hair, and that's usually a sign that they're kind of done with the role for a bit. But hair grows back, so I mean, I don't know when they start filming again.
You said Kit Harington cut his hair?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Like he basically like changed up the way he looked.
Oh,
you know, and that's not something you do when you're like on the show. That you have to usually like. And I was talking to a friend. I was like, well, maybe he has a new role he's gonna do right before, and they put on pieces. And usually that's not the case, but we'll see. But I think in character-wise, I think he's very important for it. I don't think there's anyone else that can replace what he's supposed to be. They haven't. I don't think they've. From what I understand, they haven't built anyone up to do that. So I think he will return. I think that'd be like a big, huge thing if he did return. And I think they kind of want that. But I did hear the actor cut his hair, and I did. So that's usually a telltale sign when an actor changes the way they look for the past, that they probably are done with something for a while. So maybe he'll come in at the end of the season or something. That's pretty much it.
I think they're going to reveal that Bran is descended from the First Men.
They are. They've already established that.
I'm saying, predictions for next season. Because, they decided they're not following the books anymore, so anything goes next season, technically.
Did they explicitly say that?
Yeah, they explicitly said that they're not going to, be as tight with the books.
Well, there are no more books.
But no, they know the story. George R. Martin said he's already told them how it's supposed to end and how it's going to end.
Exactly. So
he even showed them he's written a lot of the book. In fact,
I don't want to hear none of that foolishness.
I think what he's doing, and I said this on the Nerd Element show when we did Game of Thrones. I think what he's doing is it's supposed to be 7 books. I think he's writing 6 and 7 at the same time, like he did with 4 and 5. I think that's why. Because Winds of Winter, even Amazon, everybody had said Winds of Winter was coming out this year, meaning the publisher had a good feeling that it was ready. They had the manuscript and everything. But I think he probably scaled it back and just said, I'm going to knock these 2 out in one shot. And he's already given the producers that. And he said that their changes is going to be significant, but we're all going to end up in the same place.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I want to
a huge prediction. Again, you had to see the final episode to go. Jaime's going to go back to Dorne and raise hell because they done killed his daughter. In one of the final scenes in Dorne, he's supposed to be going back to King's Landing with Marissa and Bronn. And there's a great scene that you guys would definitely enjoy with Bronn and one of the sand snakes. And the one who started all the drama, she gives Marissa a kiss on the lips, a goodbye kiss. And they're in the ship sometime later, and he's saying, I have something I want to tell you. And she finally says, yeah, I know you're my father, Jaime, And then all of a sudden her nose starts bleeding. And then they go back to the port, and you see her drink the antidote from the poison because her nose started bleeding. So she basically killed her. I think that Jaime's going to go back to Dorne and raise holy hell because this was the first time he got to say to one of his kids that, yeah, I am your father, And they killed him. So it's going to be a big controversy in Dorne. He's playing Uncle Jaime all this time, and this was the first time.
Everybody in Queen's Landing know that's your dad. It's the worst kept secret ever. Robert Baratheon, they're like, this dude got all his children got black hair, blue eyes, and all of a sudden a blonde hair, brown eyed boy come out.
Recessive genes.
Okay.
I don't know. Based on that, Big Baba Rob, we're gonna give you the last word on this subject.
The last word on this subject. I like dragons, but that's about it.
Yo, we need to get him a T-shirt. I like dragons.
I like dragons. I like
And robots.
I like dragons. No.
Preferably written by big robots.
Yeah, big. Yeah, you see. I brought my friends with me tonight. See, I packed my two bigs with me tonight. So I had to put them up and bring them along with me. All right. So yes, actually, thank you, Papa Samurai. I appreciate that. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for this evening. I would like to thank all the Black Geek talent that has joined us this evening. Darth Geekonius, the Potbelly Samurai, King Face, and Dark Phoenix. Thank you guys so much. Appreciate your time and your energy. You can definitely go to www.theblackgeeks.com. Follow along on some of the many articles that we've got flowing through the site. You can follow us on Facebook at The Black Geeks, on Twitter at The Black Geeks, at Instagram on The Black Geeks, at Tumblr on The Black Geeks, and on YouTube at The Black Geeks 42, youtube.com/The Black Geeks 42.
Everywhere the Black Geeks.
Pretty much everywhere except for YouTube. Pretty much.
Because it's the Black Geeks of the world, Craig, of the world.
World.
Top flight.
Absolutely, and make sure that make sure you follow the Twitter feed at the Black Geeks so that you can see when the latest and greatest things that we post, share, and like, and also definitely follow Dark Geekonius if you want the latest in geeky, techie, off-topic news. And if you want to interact, if you really want to talk with us, if you want to look at all the different things that we're doing on the blackgeeks.com website, we have a forum that is not limited to 140 characters, I must say. And so we have a number of different topics flowing through the forum. You can always go check out the forum at theblackgeeks.com and then click on forum. And we have an archive, a treasure trove of shows between YouTube and Blog Talk Radio and SoundCloud. That's right. And we're on SoundCloud.
And we're on SoundCloud.
We literally are. We are everywhere. And we're on iTunes. We're on iTunes too.
Yeah, we are.
We are all over the freaking place.
Except on Sirius XM. So if y'all know anybody at Sirius XM, go ahead and do your thing and say, we want these people on the radio. Then that way Potbelly and Face can curse as much as they want.
That would be nice, man. They get these shackles off.
We could be worse than Shade 45 up in the feed.
That would be something special.
I am tired on these bloop bloop snakes on this. Hey.
All right.
Let me quote some Samuel L.
All right, Sam Jackson.
All right. Thank you, folks. I appreciate your time. Make sure there's one thing that you need to do this week. You need to share. Whether it's a pack of Cracker Jacks, whether it's a bottle of water, or if it's the Black Geeks. You need to share us with somebody, and because nothing says loving like a little bit of King Face in the morning. I'm just saying.
Wait a minute.
Clap. Clap. If you got the clap, go get some treatment. Don't share that.
All right. Cut the feed, please.
I'm trying to get people to share the Black Geeks. And
push the button.
Man,
just cut the feed.
We don't please share that.
Please cut the feed.
Go see your doctor.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.